Hello everyone, welcome back to QNAP Live Broadcast. I'm Sam. And today our topic is we will let you know how to use a Zabbix as a code or a function that can help you to manage and monitor your network, your computer and electric devices under your networking. So we have our PM Frank here to make a detailed introduction and some of the demos, and we will let you know how we can control and do the configuration. So let's get into the slides first. Well, this is a tutorial basically for the small business enterprise user, because we assume that maybe most of the home users, you will not need the Zabbix to help you to monitor your network devices. So we will mostly focus on the SMB users. And we will have these 6 agendas to let you know one by one about what why we are providing you this solution, and how you can install and how you can do all the configuration. And of course, we will give you some recommended devices and models to let you know what are the most suitable NASs to co-work with the Zabbix. So first, we will start with the small business networking topology. So Frank, please.
Thank you. Yes, like the Sam mentions, why we want to focus on the SMB network for this live broadcast, because in the business, the network device is very important because they need to use the networking. And usually we will have like MIs or IT help us monitor the device. And we will let you know what kind of pain point for these people. Usually, if they want to monitor the device, what pain points they will have. But before that, we will show you what the SMB network topology looks like. In this scenario, usually we talk about the SMB network topology. We will say it will have at least 2 tiers of the topology. The first is the firewall, and the second is the switch. Firewall is handling like the routing and security. It's like a gatekeeper for your network, controlling who can access, which one need to deny, and the route to where from here to there, how the routing will look like. This is handled by firewall. And the switch is connect the devices and endpoint devices connected. Let this device join the network. And for this scenario, we will talk about the NAS. What the position the NAS will deploy in this scenario? Usually we will talk about 2 parts. The first one is the company shared NAS, which means everybody can access to this NAS, and the firewall will do some access control. But the baseline is everybody in this company can access to this NAS. We will say this one is the shared NAS for company. And another one is, in this scenario, we put in the department NAS, which means only for this department can access to this NAS. You can say this is an internal shared NAS or only for dedicated subnet, because usually we will separate the subnet for each department. And for each department, you will have one NAS only for this dedicated department. So we will say this is a department NAS. So if you are not one of the member in this department, you cannot access to this one. So usually we will say that the NAS will have a company shared for public, and the department NAS for private. So as you can see, we have a lot of device in the business network topology. So what's the difficulty in this device monitoring? Because we will need the MIs, IT guys check the device every day, because they need to make sure the device is working fine. But a lot of device, how they can monitor it. And here we list some pain point for this monitoring. The first one is, if you don't have like a Zabbix, this kind of a centralized monitoring software platform, you need to log into each device one by one, and then you need to do this every day. So it takes a lot of time. And the second is, you cannot compare the status. Like today, I found one NAS, looks like the CPU is getting higher, but how to define the CPU is getting higher? You need to have another one to do the comparison. But if you don't have the centralized platform, you need to log into another one, and maybe you need to use 2 laptops and do this comparison in different monitor. This is also take a lot of time. And if we talk about the monitor, which means the report is very important. But if you don't have the centralized platform, means you need to generate a report on each device and gather it by yourself or by MI's IT itself. You need a lot of manual labor for that. And the last thing is, if we talk about the monitor, usually we would like to have notifications. We like to see, okay, maybe this device have some issues, the CPU getting higher, the memory leak. I need to have a notification to notice me. Okay, I need to do something for this device. But if we don't have the centralized platform, which means the notification need to be set up on each device. Okay, and what's more, we only talk about it for pain point, but the most important thing for the monitoring is all these pain points point to one thing: is this is not a real-time monitoring. Because if we talk about the monitoring, which means I need to know which device have problems immediately or in very short time. But if you think about, okay, maybe I found the network is going down, I need to log into each device to check, and I need to looking for my email to see, okay, if some devices send out the notification, take a lot of time. This is not a real time. This is the most pain point for monitoring. So that's why we will have this topic to show you, if we have the Zabbix with the QNAP NAS in your topology, in your scenarios, we can help you to do this. Okay, so then we go to how we use the Zabbix. We will show you some cases, but before that, we will have a short introduction for the Zabbix. It is open source, so free install. It is the central network device monitoring platform. It can use SNMP or IPMI to monitor your device. And the GUI is totally can customizations. You can define which device you would like to see, and what the graphic looks like, what the checkpoint you like to have. You can totally customize. And also, it's a real-time visualized report and notification. You can set up the notification on the Zabbix, which means you don't need to set up by each device. You only need to set up on the Zabbix. Okay, then we go to the use case. Usually we talk about the monitoring platforms. If somebody asks what kind of scenario I can use, usually we will ask what kind of topology you will looks like. So here we have 2 scenarios to let you know what kind of a scenario you can use, what kind of use case. The first one is the centralized monitoring use case. In this scenario, you can see we have a NAS, QNAP NAS, and behind the firewall, and I have a switch and a PC, which means in this scenario, NAS can access to all the device in these companies. So we only need to set up the Zabbix on this QNAP NAS, helping the MIs doing the monitoring, because the Zabbix can query to each device, including the switch, including the firewall. And because it is a centralized monitoring, so we can generate the report on this Zabbix. You can see this scenario is more simple. Then we go to this one, is a distribute monitoring. As you can see in this scenario, it's more complex. We will have a headquarters on the left and a branch office on the right. And in the headquarters, we have 2 departments, for example, we have 2 departments, and also 1 department in our branch office. And here you can see we have 4 QNAP NAS set up in this scenario. 1 is in the headquarters behind the firewall directly, and another 2 is separated into PM department and R&D department, and 1 in local sales departments. You can see in these scenarios means for each device set up in the department, it's a handling for the monitoring for the device in each department, like the NAS monitoring the PM. Inside the PM, it will monitoring the PM's department's devices. And the centralized Zabbix on the headquarters is helping to gather the information sending from this proxy Zabbix in each department. Okay, or you can say the sub Zabbix. The headquarters centralized Zabbix is not doing the monitoring. It's only doing for the gathering the information. So the report notification can send out from the central Zabbix, but the monitoring is doing by this Zabbix proxy. Okay, this is the distributed monitoring. Because usually, like this scenario, we have a headquarter and a branch, which means the branch is maybe in other countries. The network is across countries. So if you want to use like a previous centralized monitoring, use one dedicated NAS with the Zabbix to query a lot of devices, including the cross-country device. The networking is we cannot make sure the networking is always qualified for this kind of a scenario. So this kind of distributed monitoring can help you monitor more devices. So let's do a conclusion with the how centralized monitoring with the distributed monitorings, how we make our choice. If your network device is not so much, less network device, and the topology is simple, like you don't have an isolated network, or your network is public, and you don't have quite a lot of office, you are a centralized office, then you can choose centralized monitoring. But if your network device is a lot of network devices, and with the complex topology, like you have an isolated network, maybe your manufacturer's network, you don't like others, even same company but different departments, you don't like let them to access to your manufacturer, you will have an isolated network. Or you have a cross-country or distributed office, like our topologies. The headquarters is in one country and the branch office in another one. You need to use the distributed monitoring. This is the advantage for the Zabbix, because the Zabbix can depend on your infrastructures to doing the deployed. You only need to check what kind of scenario, what kind of topology you will deploy in your companies, then decide what kind of installations for Zabbix. Okay. This is the very flexible for deploy the Zabbix. But in today's podcast, we will use the centralized monitoring for examples. And in the future, if we got a lot of comments with the people like to see more advantage usage, then we'll have another topic to talk about distributed monitoring scenario. Okay, then we will go to introduce how to install the Zabbix on QNAP NAS. This is our step-by-step. First, we still need to configure the NAS. We need to set up the virtual switch to make sure the Zabbix can get IP address and access to internet. Then we need to install the Zabbix on NAS. We need to download the Zabbix and install on our NAS. Then of course we need to do some minor configuration change on the NAS. And then the fourth step is the most important. We need to log into Zabbix. We need to create our host for monitoring, and because for monitoring, we will say one of the important thing is the template. We need to import the template, and also we can customize the dashboard. So we will show you how we can customize the dashboard to suitable for your network monitoring. So let's start. The first step is we need to set up the virtual switch on the NAS. We go to network, virtual switch, we generate one virtual switch 1 binding with the adapter 1. Then we generate the virtual switch. Then go to the virtualization station VM bucket to download the Zabbix. We will put the Zabbix download VM files in the VM bucket in Q2 of the 2020. You can download it from here directly. After you download it, the NAS will ask you some basic install setup, like how many CPU core you like to have. We will suggest you at least give 2 cores on the CPU, and for the memory, at least 1 gigabyte. If you have if your NAS is more powerful, you have a more available CPU cores and the memories, you want to give more, like 4 cores and 2 gigabytes for memory. That depends on you. That will be fine. But at least we will suggest 2 core for CPU, 1 gigabyte for memory. And of course, you can choose the folder for installations. And after that, you install the Zabbix. You will see 1 Zabbix virtual machines on the virtualization stations. And we already installed Zabbix on the NAS, which means now we need to assign the network card for Zabbix, because Zabbix still need IP address to access the internet. So we just only need to assign our virtual switch into the Zabbix. How to assign it? We go to virtualization stations and go to the VM list. We choose the Zabbix VM and go to the setting network. And right here you can see the adapter 1 on this virtual machine. We just need to choose virtual switch 1, which we generate on the first step. Then confirm it. Zabbix can through this virtual switch to get the IP address. And until here, which means we already installed the Zabbix on our NAS and assign the network card for the Zabbix. Then we need to go to the Zabbix to do the configurations. But before that, the most important is how we can access to the web page on the Zabbix. First thing is we need to know the IP address. Okay, so where we can get the Zabbix web page IP address, we go to virtualization stations, and here you just need to click the Zabbix virtual machine. Then it will pop out a new tab with the console terminal page right here. And because by default, the Zabbix, we don't have the graphic GUI for that. It only have the terminal console page. So after you put up the Zabbix, you will see the web page is totally black. Then you just need to go to the terminal 2 for login. How we can go to that? We just press Ctrl, Alt, F2 at the same times. Then you will go to the terminal 2. Then you will see the Zabbix login. Right here, the account, default account is appliance. Password is Zabbix. Then you can go into the serial commands. It's a Linux base. So you just need to use the if config to check the network card, and the most important is you need to know what IP address it is. Right here you can just check the IP address, because usually you will know what subnet this server will get. Just like in my case, my Zabbix IP address is 10.17.104.101, which is on the interface ENS3. Okay, so my Zabbix is using ENS3 get the IP address, and the IP address is 10.17.104.101. Okay, so we get the IP address, then we can access the web page. But default, this VM virtual machine is still under Apache server, and the Zabbix is one of the services on the Apache. So we need to use the IP address with /Zabbix. Just like this example, you need to type HTTP and the IP /Zabbix. Then you will see the login page right here. And for the web page login, default account is admin. Password Zabbix. This is different than terminal login. Terminal login is appliance Zabbix. On the web page is admin Zabbix. You need to make sure you type in the right account, okay, or you cannot log in. After you type in the account and the password, you can log in to Zabbix. Then we can start going to import templates and create the host. Because by default, your Zabbix is empty without any device or host on it. So the first step is we can go to create our own host group. But of course, by default, the Zabbix have their own default host group. So if you like to use the default settings, you can ignore this step. But if you like me, I like to customize my own host group. You just need to go to configuration, host groups, create host group, and right here you key in the group name and press add. Then you will get a new customizations host group. And if we talk about the monitoring, especially for the SMB, usually we will say you need a template, because template it will define a lot of OIDs to define what kind of behavior is need to monitor. So import the template is very important. And because the Zabbix is open source, you can find a lot of templates on the internet. Like in our this podcast, we use one template. It's downloaded from the Zabbix forums. Here you have a reference. You can also use that. You also can generate the templates by yourself. Depends on you. But of course, Zabbix have the default templates. If you want to use the default templates, then you don't need to import the templates. You can ignore this step. But if you want to import the customized templates, you go to configuration, templates, import, choose the template and press import. Then you will see the Zabbix apply your custom template on the system. Okay, the previous two steps depends on you. If you like to use the default group, if you want to use the default templates, then you can ignore previous two steps. But for this step, it's very important. By default, the Zabbix don't have any host on it. If you want to monitor any device, you need to create a new host. So right here, you need to go to configuration, host, create host. There are buttons on the top right. You press the create host, you will get this page. This is ask you to create a new host for that. And some very necessary column you need to fill in. The first one is host name. You need to give a name for this host. And the second is group. You need to assign a group. If you want to use the default, then just choose the Zabbix default group. If you have a custom generate group, you choose your custom generate group. Depends on you. And then the third one, also very important. You need to assign a interface for Zabbix to query. Here are a lot of options. And right here we show the SNMP interfaces, because for QNAP device we use the SNMP for query. So right here you just need to fill in the IP address on your QNAP device. And for the SNMP default port is UDP port 161. So by default it already fill in the 161. And of course, if you modify your device into like a port 10,001, then you just change the 161 to 10,001, depends on you. Then you need to enable this host and press add, which means right here, the Zabbix will have a one host can monitor. Like this example, this is my setup for my NAS. I give the name Frank NAS for host name. And because I have generated one custom generate groups, so my group's name is Frank's SNMP. So here you can see I choose Frank SNMP. And I use the SNMP interface. So I choose SNMP interfaces and fill in my NAS WAN IP address. But I didn't change the SNMP default port, sorry. So my port is 161 by default. And enable this host. Then this is my NAS ready for Zabbix for query. But till here we only set up the host. We didn't set up the template. We need to set up the template for Zabbix to let Zabbix know, okay, what kind of IDs you need to query. So in another tab right here is template. You go to template, and right here you can see link new template. You just right here to choose what kind of templates you want to let Zabbix query to this device. You can choose the default settings, or you can choose the custom templates you import by yourself, depends on you. After you choose it, then press update, which means you already set up the template for this host. Okay. So till here you already create a host and you apply the template. Zabbix now will start trying to query your device. So we can go back to check what devices now is already monitored by Zabbix. We can go to configuration, host. In this page, you can see the device you already set up on this Zabbix server for query. And if you want to know which device is working or not, you just check the availability options, which I mark in red on the right buttons right here. If you see, because I use the SMB, so if you see right here, SMB button in green, means now Zabbix can query to this server, to these devices, and doing well. Okay, if you see the green buttons, which means now this is working. And now you will ask, okay, so will I see the red light on this page? Yes, of course. The button also will show red, which means something wrong on this page. So here's the first tip. Because we use the SMB, if your SMB button showing red, how we can troubleshooting it? The first thing is that after you create one brand new host or you change some configuration on this host, you need to wait 5 to 10 minutes let Zabbix finish all the query tests. So you need to wait 5 in 10 minutes, which means if you do some configurations, after that you go back to check this page and you see the button showing red, that's normal. You need to wait at least 10 minutes. But if you already wait for 10 minutes, more than 10 minutes, the button still showing red, how you can do for checking? We have 3 steps. The first one is you can try to pin to this host from Zabbix servers. You can use the ICMP, because most of the time is the routing is totally not working between your Zabbix server and the host. Most of the problems coming here. So you can use the ICMP. If you cannot pin to this host, which means the connection is failed, you need to check which part drop or which part is disconnect. You can use the ICMP. And then the second one is usually we monitor these devices, and this device have a firewall on it with enable. But usually people will forget to enable the SMB UDP port, because by default usually the firewall will deny all. So you need to make sure the UDP port 161, this is default setting. And of course, if you modify your SMP port to another one, you need to also enable your customized ports. You need to pass the port for SNMP on the firewall. Then the Zabbix can query to this device. Or you will see a lot of like a dropped or reject traffic only for the Zabbix, and of course Zabbix cannot get the information from this device. Then you show in the button show in the red. And the third one is a little bit similar like the first one. You set up the wrong IP address for this host. Like if your IP address should be .10, but you set up to .20, and of course the Zabbix cannot get this IP address. He cannot know which IP address it is, so he cannot reach this device. So make sure your host IP is correct on the Zabbix setup. Okay. So here's the tip. If you see the SMB button showing red. Okay, if your setup is ready, then we can go to the dashboard to do a custom, because by default the dashboard only showing some system informations. It will not include the device host informations on it, so you need to custom by yourself. You just need to go to monitor dashboard, and on the right you will see an edited dashboard. Click it, and you can add the widget page. You can see the snapshot on the right. You can choose what device you like to monitor and what items you like to check, and the graphic you like, what kind of color you like to use, and just press the ad, it will have a brand new graphic on your dashboard. And then you can choose which place you like to put this graphic on your dashboard. You can totally customize it. And if your Zabbix is working well, then you will see the graphic start working on your graphic. Then you will ask, what if I didn't see any data on my graphic? What problem this will have? Okay, here is a second tip. If you already created a graphic but no data, what you can check? Okay, the first one is you need to make sure the display time on your dashboard is correct. The meaning for the correct is the time period. For example, if you put a brand new NAS into this Zabbix, but you only do this 1 hour ago, but your time period you choose last 7 or 14 days, of course your graphic cannot show you well, because on the server it only have a 1 hour data, but you ask it to display more than 7 days. Of course your graphic is not showing well. So you need to make sure the time period is suitable to your device. Then you can see the full information on the graphic. But if you ask, okay, I already choose the right time period, but my graphic looks like still empty, what may be the problems? Another problem maybe is your Zabbix server not working. Maybe it's disabled, or you already reboot the virtual machines, but you forgot to get the Zabbix server on. So we can have a check on the terminal page. And here we list the 4 CLI commands related to check the Zabbix service. You can use these 4 CLI commands to check it. If the example right here, we want to check the Zabbix server is working well or not, we can use the 4th one, service Zabbix server status. You just go to the terminal page, use this command, and press the enter. Supposedly you need to see on the snapshot on the right, I put a red mark right here. You need to see this one, active running in green. If you can see this one, means your Zabbix server working well, or your Zabbix server is not working. If you didn't see this wording, maybe you need to use the first one, you start the Zabbix, or the third one, you restart the Zabbix server. Force the Zabbix restart it to get the information, because if the Zabbix server is not working, it will not query your monitor devices. This is very important. And then the second serial command right here is stop. Maybe you want to turn off your device, but you don't want to crash your Zabbix database. You can use this command to shut down the Zabbix server first, then you can turn off the virtual machines or turn off your NAS. This is to protect your data on the Zabbix database. So these 4 serial commands do have their own purpose. Just for your reference, you can use this under what kind of situations you met. Okay, so till here we already set up our NAS and install the Zabbix and the configurations on the web page. And right here I will show you I use one of my Guardian switch and install the Zabbix on it. I will show you what kind of a setup and the deployment, let you more clearly what we need to set up and what we can set up on our device. Okay, so here is my Guardian switch web page. I change my language. Okay, here you can see my dashboard on the Guardian. So first we go to check my virtual switch. Okay, right here you can see I already generate 1 virtual switch on my NAS, because we prepare assign this virtual switch to my Zabbix server. So right here you will already see I have 1 Zabbix server with virtual machines on my NAS. And in the future, after the Q2 of the 2020s, you will see like this page. Okay, you will see a Zabbix appliance can download right here. But now I already installed 1 Zabbix server on here. So which means, okay, let me show you how set up for the network card. You just go to the settings and the network. See right here, the adapter 1. Then I assign the virtual switch 1 for this Zabbix. That Zabbix can use this virtual machine to get the IP address access to internet. Okay, so the setup on the NAS and the Zabbix now is working, so we need to go to the first step is we need to check what IP address it is on the Zabbix. So I click the virtual machines on my Zabbix and I log in. Okay, then now I log into my Zabbix terminal page and I use the if config. Okay, right here you will see my IP address is 10.3.188.106. Okay, this is my Zabbix server's IP address. Then we can use this one. And because now I'm in the terminal page, so I just show you another tips because we mentioned about before is how we can check the Zabbix server status. We just need to suppose I don't know my Zabbix is working or not. I just go use this command. Okay, sudo service Zabbix server status. Give the password. Okay, right here you will see I have active right here, active running in green. This means now the Zabbix on my virtual machine now is working. So you can also check this anytime if you not make sure your Zabbix is working or not. Okay, so now I already have my IP address. I just need to go to have another page right here because I already logged in. But if I want to log into my Zabbix, I just use my IP address 10.3.188.106/Zabbix. Then I can access to my Zabbix web page. Okay, but because now this is running service, so by default you log into here, you didn't see any host right here. So if we want to customize our servers, like I like to generate my own host group, I can go to configurations, host group. And below you can see a lot of host group already here. Most of them is by default generated by Zabbix, but here I generate one of my custom groups right here. So you also can do that. You just need to create host group right here and type in the name and press add. You will get this your own custom host group right here. And the second thing is the template. You just go to configuration template, and also down here you will see a lot of templates here, and all these are default on the Zabbix. And I already import one custom template I download from Zabbix forums is this one. This one is I import by myself. And of course, if you want to import yourself, just right here import, then choose the template, then you just import it. You will see your template is also under this list. Okay. But like I mentioned, the host groups and the templates, they are not necessary anytime if you want to set up the host on the Zabbix, because it do have default configurations on it. But the host you need to manually add on the Zabbix, because default of course is empty. Right here I already add some devices, but if you want to create your own host, just go to configuration host, create host, then you can apply, import any right here. Like I make some example, I make this device, I give a host name and I choose a group, like I give them into my, this is my custom host group. Okay, and the most important is you need to give an interface. My device is using the SNMP interfaces, so I need to give a SMB interface. and I give like my IP address just for example. And the IP, I choose the 161. This is the default SMB port. But if you were, like I said, if you were modify your SMB port into 10,001, you need to modify it. Okay, then just make sure this enable and edit. And then now you will see a new device host right here. Okay, you can start monitoring. But this is only add a new host. You still not assign a template for this host. So you need to go to template right here, because now you can see this is totally empty. And I want to assign, suppose I want to assign the QNAP, this template I download from Zabbix forums, then I can use this one. And also if I want to use the default, okay, I choose like, okay, this one. Okay, this is default setting on the Zabbix. And I choose two templates, I just press update. Okay, and here is another tip right here, because sometimes the Zabbix, it will check the relationship between these two templates. If you see these templates, if the Zabbix see the template is too similar to each other, it will tell you you don't need to choose the same template. Okay, so right here you already tell me you use the QNAP NAS is ready, so I just need to use that one. Then after that you can see right here. Okay, I choose one template right here. Okay, so till here means now my host is already added and I assign the template. I can go back to check what device now is already monitored by Zabbix. You go to the configuration host, and down here is all the device. Now it's monitoring for Zabbix. And we can see for these two, these are real live device on the internet. And you can see right here, because I all use the SMB. So for the Guardian, you will see the SMB in red, in green. So it means this one now is working. But you can see my NAS, SMB, but in red. Because now I already unplugged this NAS, so of course the Zabbix cannot query to this NAS. It will show red right here. So this is the one part can let the MIS and IT to see, okay, now this one, even I set up for monitor for on the Zabbix, but the Zabbix cannot reach it. So it will show in red. Okay, after we set up the host, we can go to the monitor page. Right here, I already create two graphics. One is my Guardian and another is my NAS. And you can see very clearly, my Guardian, the Zabbix can query very smoothly. I can get right here, I set up for CPU usage and ICMP loss rate and the system free memories. You can see do have the values on my Guardian switch. But for my NAS, because now the NAS is totally lost connection from the internet, you will see the ICMP loss is 100%. And of course, no any data right here because Zabbix cannot reach this NAS. And here you can see we can modify the time period. This is the second tip I mentioned on the PPT. If you choose the wrong time period, your graphic will look like no data. Like I put these two devices only 2 weeks ago, but suppose like I put like 2 years, okay, 1 year, and you will see it looks like my device is 40, okay, why my data is only quite a few, like this one. So this means the time period I set up in the wrong period, so your graphic will looks like something wrong. But if I choose like 30 minutes, okay, now it's working fine. So the time period is very important if you set up for the graphic. And if you want to edit your dashboard, then just press edit. And I want to add a widget, you choose this one, and you can choose like I just create this, and I select it, and like I want to temperature and ICMP lost, and my hard disk like this one, and I choose the red, and I can have a new graphic right here, and then you can scroll this to any place you like, because I want to put it in the top, and you just put it into top and save change. then I will have a new graphic on my dashboard. So this means I can totally manual customizations for my dashboard on Zabbix. You can flexibility to do anything you like to see, that you can very easy and very quick, because we talk about the immediate real-time monitoring. You can modify your dashboard to help you to do the real-time monitoring. Okay, so this is the demo to show you on my device how I set up the Zabbix on my Guardian switch. So we go back to our slides, and because the Zabbix can help you monitor the device, so of course we will give you some recommended device for QNAP NAS. Which models of QNAP NAS can help you install the Zabbix to monitor your device? Because we for this topic we will talk about is the business network. So right here you can see from Studio Soho to SMB and go to the enterprise data centers. You can use this series of the NAS. And another thing is down there you can see a Guardian switch. We also can set up the Zabbix on our Guardian switch, because setup on switch is another thinking is because the switch, you can see in the previous scenarios, the switch is gathering the connections from the endpoint. So you set up the Zabbix on your switch, which means it can directly access query to your endpoint device. This is another ideas for MIS IT can think about it. So because the Zabbix is very flexibility, so you just need to check what kind of a scenario topology you would like to use, then install the Zabbix on the dedicated NAS or Guardian switch.
Okay.
So today is our slides to show you how to install the Zabbix on our NAS and the Guardian switch to help you to monitor your network. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Frank. And if you want to know more about the Zabbix, you can check on our website and use Zabbix as the keyword to search for the video again. And we will upload the download point from our visualization station in the second quarter of this year. So if you want to try this function, you can just wait a little more bit, and then you can check on the download point in our visualization station. Then if you want to purchase another new NAS to co-work with this Zabbix, please go to our website and check for the x86 series of our NAS. And thank you for your watching. We will see you next time on QNAP Live Broadcast. Bye.